self-driving trucks. Let's talk about it.
Driverless trucks are here. Aurora Innovation says it's ready to go completely driverless, a key milestone that could reshape the trucking industry. At least 10 companies are known to be developing driverless technology for trucks, most expected to pull the driver or go fully autonomous on public roads later this year or as soon as 2026. That is not far off. We've discussed the cars and the taxis on this show, and we've all emphasized that we would be very scared to get stuck in one and what could potentially go wrong. A truck is a bigger vehicle. I'll start with you, David, from a investment perspective. I mean, do we have to get on board with this because this is where it's all going?
Well, a couple things to understand. One is that pretty much everything in life shows up on a truck like that. And so we've got a big need. It's hard to find drivers. They've got limits on how far they can go, how long they can go, et cetera. So if you got autonomous, you're taking away some jobs. So I don't love that idea, but I do like the idea that maybe.
So they mentioned jobs. I mean, yeah, I think that most truck drivers would pretty much be worried about losing their job. On most of these pieces of equipment that are beta testing out there right now, there's a driver at all times on the wheel just in case something goes wrong, right? But I did a quick Google research, or Google search, I should say, and it shows that it has about 3.5 to 3.6 million drivers just in the United States, and that's in combination of company drivers and owner-operators. So, yeah, that would be a big thing that I think most drivers would be worried about would be their job, because once they go full autonomous, is there still a driver that's going to be needed there in the truck, like on long haul? That's pretty much what they've been talking about for the last couple of years, is that they want to get rid of those long haul, because supposedly most drivers don't want to do that, and that is true. But there is a lot of drivers that do. Most jobs that would be eliminated, I think, would be the first ones, and then when it comes to like local pickup and delivery, it would be pretty much a driver getting those, more complex driving in the city, I guess you could say, or whatever. But I'm not really liking the idea of it. But I mean, whether we want to realize it or not, drivers, I think in my opinion, it's eventually gonna go there, whether we all like it or not. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when. I don't think it's going to be here in the near future, maybe 3, 4, 5 years. I would probably say maybe within the next 10 years. That's just my opinion, but it's definitely going to come.
There's something that can go in a more efficient way, but I'd just say it this way. I got a $100 chauffeur recently for my Model X Tesla, and it does a pretty good job.
But what if you can't make a huge truck like that stop and it hits something, or obstructions, if there's a technological failure?
Like, for example, like this? You guys just saw right there in the clip on what happened when one of these machines fails. I talked about this in a couple of previous videos, but I'll bring it up to speed, I guess you could say. Anything that is network connected, guys, is hackable. It's point and simple, because these systems are complex. You got computers, you got radar detectors, you got cameras, you got, I think they call it LiDAR, which is the radar detector that detects. It's kind of like the technology kind of that Tesla cars uses or whatever, But it's just like in the what happened in 2021, the Colonial Pipeline. They hacked into the computer system and they shut down the entire southeast part of the United States, to where you couldn't get any fuel because everything works on systems. And that would be my biggest worry, is if they can shut down that pipeline just with the push of a button on a computer, what can they do when all these trucks are on the road and they no longer have a driver on them anymore? What's going to happen when one of these trucks has a mechanical failure, a blowout tire or just whatever, something going on with the engine, your favorite regen stuff? You know what I mean? How is a truck going to react when situations like that happen? I might be able to safely pull over on the shoulder, but how many accidents, guys, haven't we seen with a truck that's in the shoulder, whether it be emergency or non-emergency? You have some guy that's not paying attention or whatever and slams into the back of the truck. Or what if the network goes offline, where these trucks can't communicate with each other or anything anymore? Because that's essentially what they're trying to do, is they're trying to build a big network of trucks that have computers and brains and stuff, and they're communicating with each other. Like, what are going to be like the fail-safe systems? Like, I'm all for technology, but when it comes to a big truck like that, it's no mystery, guys. It's all over the news sometimes, or all over the social media, on the damage that these big trucks can cause, and it's not just trucks, it's cars too, because that's essentially what they're trying to do, is to where it's cars and trucks are full autonomous or whatever, but that's just my 2 cents.
Some sort. That seems scary to me, just of a vehicle that size. I'm just lobbing that one.
I guess I have more faith in the technology. I've seen, I think, how Waymo operates in San Francisco with the hills and lots of one-way streets. I hear you, this is a bigger size, heavier vehicle. But I think the technology is there, and I think we're close.
So the technology is there. It's just, for example, just the way they brought e-logs, right? Do e-logs really make it a lot safer out there? You're consistently fighting against the computer with time. I personally think it actually makes it a lot less safe. And statistics show that the e-logs haven't made it safer. So they're over here talking about, that they trust the technology or whatever. The technology is in e-logs as well. You know what I mean? So, and now they're doing the driver-facing cameras and stuff like that. It's all technology, and it's so regulated. I'm gonna go ahead and link down the full video down there. I just wanted to react to, like, I guess what the important parts to me. But they did mention in the video that these self-driving trucks are less regulated than a driver that's trying to get their license. Explain to me how that makes sense. Like, you're willing to put your trust in a computer, but not in somebody that's gonna train to be able to get their license and go out on the road. I mean, I get it, guys. I mean, there's a lot of good drivers out there, and there's a lot of idiot drivers out there. And I think most of us know which idiot drivers are the idiot ones. You know what I'm saying?
David, you mentioned an interesting point. So my immediately thought was jobs, the trucking, worker.
The trucking worker. I don't think she meant it like an ill intent form or whatever, but the fact of the matter is, guys, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that everything that you buy, your house that was built, from the clothes that you wear, from the things that you eat, everything at one point comes in a truck. Like, and it's super important, you know what I mean? And with this self-driving technology, I think eventually it will get there to where it might be reliable. But what really gets me worried is that somebody with good computer skills can hack these systems. I mean, just think about it for a second. If all the trucks and all the cars are self-driving, like, think about how big of an attack somebody can do to disrupt the flow of traffic. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody were to hack those trucks to where it says you ain't gonna move them no more, like, how are we gonna get our goods, and services everywhere? From food to the grocery stores, to medical supplies, to hospitals, to you name it, car parts, and it just, everything comes in a truck at one point. You know what I mean? And that's really what my biggest worry is. Like I said earlier, the Colonial Pipeline, you know what I mean? It shut everything down. And the crazy part about it is that a lot of this technology is already in vehicles today. One that comes on the top of my head right now is, for example, my Chevy Silverado. It has OnStar on it. Like, they already have the ability right now to shut down the vehicle remotely. If somebody steals my truck or whatever and I report it stolen, they can literally slow down the vehicle or just turn it off. And that's another thing that really puts me to think, is that if everything is network controlled to where somebody can just shut it off, I mean, how is it going to go with regulations now with these big companies or whatever? Like, if for whatever reason you have a violation, they could just turn the truck off, like you can't use it. Or if you fail to make your registration on time, it'll just shut down the truck. Like they'll have full access to be able to say when the truck moves and when the truck doesn't at a touch of just keyboard. You know what I mean? Like I said, those systems are already in place in multiple vehicles around here. You know what I mean? Like even like the Teslas, they could just literally go in there and just shut it off. You won't be able to move it. It already has cameras and everything around. It already records driver interactions. It already has driver-facing cameras like that are built in. You know what I mean? To where they can tell if you're tired or whatever. And some of those systems are pretty cool, right? You know, I remember I watched a video too. There was a car that a guy was driving a car, and it kind of felt like if he was kind of like going to sleep, and the car like turns the flashers on, it honks the horn, it taps on the brake to try to wake the driver up. And in that video, it showed that the driver wasn't responding right. So the car like starts merging onto the right and gets on the shoulder, stops, and then dials 911. Like, I think that's actually pretty cool feature. You know what I mean? So there is some technology that is pretty sweet. It's just all that other stuff that I mentioned earlier is what kind of, you know, makes me think a little bit. But anyhow, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure you guys check out Mother Truckers and Fox Business News. I'm gonna go ahead and link both of their links down below on those videos, and you can check out the full version video for Fox Business or whatever there. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, guys, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and comment down what you're thinking in your head tonight. Anyhow, for those of you guys who are driving on the road, stay safe out there. For any of you guys watching at the house, you guys have a good evening. So peace out. See you guys on the next one.
Like, share, and subscribe.